think might be important to help people realize something about themselves. And I had a client who had gone through 2 divorces and was sitting in the third one. And she was so hard on all these men that she had and spent so much time putting them down. And so after about 10 minutes of listening to her, I stopped her and I said, I want you to go back to the first marriage and tell me what you discovered about yourself that you didn't know. And she looked at me, she said, well, he was this and he, no, I said, it's not about him. I want you to come back now and I want you to look at where you were and see yourself. What did you learn about yourself that you didn't know and you would never have learned because of him? Without him, you would never have discovered this within yourself. So she kind of sat there and fighting me and then finally looked at it and said, oh, she said, I was pretty brave. And I said, why were you brave? She said, because I left. I said, yeah. So you are brave, right? She goes, yeah. I said, okay, go to the next one. What did you discover about yourself? Because now she was starting to see things from a different perspective. She wasn't holding him hostage. She was looking at the situation, saying, what is there for me to learn, to discover about myself? So she sat there and then gradually she came to the conclusion. She said, oh my gosh, I'm worthy of it. I looked at her and said, what are you worthy of? I must be worthy of love because I left it. And I realized I didn't have it. And I realized it wasn't worth it. So I had to be worthy of it because otherwise, why would I be there? So I'm worthy. And I said, yes, very good. And I said, now let's move to the third one. So she's taken the bravery and the worthiness. And I said, so what? I said, first, look at the 3 of them and what are they all the same? She said, they're similarly the same type of people. I said, interesting, eh? Similar behaviors, treated you in a similar way. So what's the third relationship? And she sat there and she said, oh my gosh. She said, I think I got it. I said, what's that? And she said, none of them could give me what I want. And I said, what does you want? She said, I just want to be respected. And I said, and? She said, I guess I have to figure out where that is. I said, clever girl. So she went from being totally crazy and just putting down all these men that have been characters in her movie and coming across realizing that she was brave because she felt she didn't have any bravery, nor did she feel she had any courage. But we forget what we've gone through in our life. So when she left, she said, oh my, she was like a whole new person. And she owned it because she felt it, you see. It wasn't words anymore. So what I can convey to people is to go back and look at your life, look at the situations in your life that caused you a lot of pain. No matter how painful, no matter what it was, go back and see it differently. See it, look at it and say, what is it I discovered about myself that I didn't know then? It will change your whole timeline.
Yeah. I mean, I'd highly recommend that